What's up, guys? Craig back here, Liberty Bell Beekeepers. In the shop tonight, getting ready for spring, as I'm sure many people are who are involved in beekeeping. And I wanted to just take a minute and show how I make my nuke boxes. I run almost everything through nuke boxes, 5 frames, deeps, although I do use some 8-frame equipment as well, and medium supers. Most of my hive bodies are, in fact, 5-frame nuke bodies. This is my dog Cooper. He's a basset hound and a sweetheart of a dog, but horribly potty trained. Just a stubborn dog, does not want to go outside, poops and pees wherever he feels like it. Fortunately, he's a shop dog and it's not such a big deal. He's a sweetheart, but God, he drives me crazy. Housebreaking this dog has been almost impossible. But he's a great dog and I love him. Anyway, back to the bees. So as I was saying, nuke boxes is pretty much what I run everything in. I do make medium supers for on top, but I can keep almost all of my bees in nuke boxes. I do have some custom hives that I've been building, if you've seen some previous videos, that I'm going to use as kind of like log hives and log/lands hive, but same thing, all those are 5 frames as well, except for one, which is an 8-frame. So what I did today was I laid out a sheet of plywood. All my nuke boxes are made of CDX plywood. It's 3/4 inch, or technically 23/32, but I make all my boxes from plywood. I don't have the cash to spend on the pine boxes. I have the ability to make all this stuff in the shop, and when it's sealed properly, as far as I'm concerned, it lasts just as long as any 1x wood. I do have some that have buckled a little bit, but so far so good, not too bad. For me, this is all about cost. I'm trying to make a lot. I don't have a lot of money, so I'm using the cheapest and best material that I can. For me, it's this CDX plywood. So let me pick up the camera here and I'll show you what I got going on. Now, I laid these out so I can get 4 nuke boxes out of 1 sheet of plywood. It makes just about everything that you need the way I make them. Now, if you do a migratory cover, you can get all the pieces that you need, but I like an overhang. Actually, let me grab my nuke box. I got it sitting right here and I can show it to you. And I'll grab my lid. This is my basic standard setup of my 5-frame nuke boxes. It's backwards. Let's turn it around. And so here it is. This is all, like I said, CDX plywood. It's got a coating of a deck sealer and stain. It's a translucent stain product that I got on clearance at Home Depot. We all spend as little as we can protecting these things generally because it's expensive to buy good stuff. So I look for clearance products and you can find them there all the time. So this is, like I said, a standard 5-frame nuke box. A couple of frames in there now. It's got a full open entrance, which I close off with 1/8-inch hardware cloth, and I can cut little doors in this. I've seen this in Barnyard Bees, and that's where I took the design from. And I like it. It works well. If they want to close it off, they will. So far, none of them have closed them off. They all seem to be enjoying the ventilation that it provides. I also built these inner covers, which act as an upper entrance. One side is screened off, as you can see. The other side is and does function as an upper entrance. And I have a 2-inch hole drilled in the center. And I can also use these for dry sugar feeding. Instead of doing mountain camp, I can load this area up and keep it right in the box without opening the box completely. And I use a 2-inch rigid foam on top of the inner cover, and then I make, I guess, what is considered a telescopic lid. It has a rail all the way around it, and it fits over top of everything and is wider than the whole box, just to help shed some water and protect the box itself. So out of this one sheet of plywood, I can make 4 of these minus the cover. Basically just a standard nuke box with a lid. Now, like I was saying earlier, as far as these rails go, the way and the size that I have these built, I cannot get all of that out of this one sheet of plywood. I need additional rips from a secondary piece, or from some one-by that I have laying around. Either way, it doesn't work out like that with this design to get 4 fully complete nuke boxes out of this one sheet. So you will need additional material to get these rails. Now, if you make a migratory lid that's the same size as the box and just an overhang on the front and back, you'll get everything that you need out of this one sheet for 4 nuke boxes. I like these lids. This is just a personal preference. I like the lid to overhang the whole box. That's just me. I felt that it was a little bit of extra protection for the plywood, which some people do not like to use. They feel that it, it shrinks, it buckles, it does everything that you don't want wood to do. But this box is a couple years old, and there's nothing wrong with it. Completely, nothing buckled, nothing separated. It didn't get wet. I'll put another coat of this sealer on it this year, but that's it. Everything else worked just fine, and it worked out just, the bees don't care. It's a roughed inside. It is not a smooth finish inside, so they do a lot of propylizing in these boxes. This isn't a great example of that, but in my bee yard, I got tons of these boxes that are absolutely loaded with propolis. They fill in all those cracks and all that good stuff. So hang on one second. Get this out of the way. Now, like I said, I did lay this whole panel out to show you that you can get 4 of these nuke boxes out of this one sheet. This sheet at a lumber yard cost me, I think, $24. So for $6 a piece, I'm making a nuke box. I don't even think you can get the cardboard ones for that cheap. Now, that being said, I have the knowledge and the tools to make these myself. Not that difficult. If you wanted to do it on your own and you're worried about it, you really only need a circular saw and a stapler. If you ain't got a stapler, you can use screws. The stapler for me is just easier, and I have one. But as far as, cutting down a sheet of plywood, you can get them to cut it down for you at your home stores for a small charge. And I'm sure that most of us know somebody, or you could probably even hire somebody to come and make these cuts for you. I personally, I will make them, and I do make them for people all the time. And I'm sure, beekeeping is one of those things when you go and you talk about it to other people, they get really interested. And they're really willing to help you. So that's the other dog, Inigo. Yo! So it's a great way to meet new people, make new friends, spread beekeeping around. It's just really a lot of fun. He's running around back there looking for something. So let me get into the specifics here. Let me focus in on this. Here's the cut sheet for this project. As you can see, there's not that many components to this. All the measurements are pretty clear. I think everybody can read that. You can screenshot this and use it. And I'm going to show you the full layout of this and how I make these cuts. So I got this plan. I got a basic plan for 5-frame nukes online, and it worked fine. And I actually used that for the basic the basic measurements of it for my swarm traps out of 1/2-inch plywood. I just adjusted the numbers a little bit for 3/4 when I decided to use this as my nuke box. Now, you can see what I got, everything kind of laid out. It's a little bit difficult to read from that angle. What I do is I make my side panel cuts first, 4 cuts, right down the line at 10¼ inches. And that'll provide me with 3 pieces. It'll provide me with 2 side panels and 1 back panel that I'll get from the in-between of the two side panels. All 4 of those provides me the 8 side panels I need for 4 nuke boxes and the 4 back panels. The next cut that I make is the front panels. It's another rip at 7½ inches, which is the width of the interior of a 5-frame nuke box. And I'll rip that down and then turn it and cut the 4 panels out of that. The next rips are the bottom pieces. Same thing. These are 9 inches a piece by 22 5/8. I'll rip those, make those 2 cuts, and then cut them to length. I have a table saw, so this makes this thing a big table saw, so it makes it a lot easier. But most of the first cuts that I make, I cut this panel down with my circular saw. I cut the side panels down with my circular saw. And that gets the sheet pretty much in half and much more manageable to use on a table saw. So once again, I'm cutting my my bottom panels out. The next 2 rips are the tops. You end up with a little bit of waste on the inside here, but you always end up with a little bit of waste. And right here, obviously, I have my cleats. The cleats are these pieces right here that create the shelf for the frames, as you can see there. And once again, I'll do these. Sometimes I'll do them on a table saw, or sometimes I'll make the rips on the table saw, and then I'll make my other cuts with my radial arm saw or a chop saw. But really, you can make these cuts with any saw that you have or is available to you. All right, so like I said, there's the cut list and the basic process of what I do to make my nuke boxes from plywood. For me, it's, once again, the most affordable way to do it, to get as many as you can for as little money as possible. And, you know, having the ability to make them myself is great. But even for the novice, these are not a hard project. It's just a box, okay? It's not anything to get really overwhelmed by. And like I said, even probably using this video with that cut list, anybody could make these. Anybody could help you make these cuts, and you could put them together yourself. Excuse me. Or maybe it's something that you hire a local handyman or a local contractor to do for you. And once again, I really feel like you start talking to people about this stuff, and it's so amazing how the world opens up for them and for you. People love to help. They love to help with beekeeping. It's great. It really is. People really embrace it. So I just wanted to show you my process of making these boxes. You can take it and use it as much as you want. It doesn't bother me. I don't care. Not like it could stop you anyway. But once you can screenshot that cut list. You could just take a quick look at the video and see how I went about doing this, and then make your own. It's a great way to get really involved with your beekeeping on a personal level, expand your knowledge and skills of building simple things, taking measurements. And when you do, you might get a better appreciation for people who do this kind of stuff for a living. The building trades are, in this day and age, something that I'm a big supporter of, as I've been involved in them for nearly more than half my life at this point. And it's something that's really sorely needed, and there's plenty of jobs out there. Just got to go and get them. So have a great time with your 2020 beekeeping season. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. As always, you can check us out on social media. Pretty much all platforms except for Twitter. I have an account. I post to it, but I do not engage in Twitter at all. probably best to find me on Instagram or Facebook or here on YouTube. So thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Have fun with your bees and get out there and make some boxes.